Good morning, everybody, and happy Mother's Day. A very, very happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, all the grandmoms, all the great-grandmoms, all the stepmoms, all the people who cared for us like moms. And today I wanted to kind of play the sermon like a show and tell. So I've got a whole bunch of things to show you and a little story to tell about all of them. I'm going to start with the thing I'm sitting on. And this is a rug that my mom made for me, and every other year she'd make one for my sister and for myself, and every other year she'd knit us a sweater. And you might not be able to tell from the look of this rug, but every one of these is a marble, and my mom knew that I collected marbles, so she wanted to be sure to put in a lot of examples, and she also was able to put in my initials. There's letter A right there, and the R and the N are hidden elsewhere in the rug. I can't imagine the amount of time that it took her to do that, but it must have been an eternity, and what patience that she had with us. And speaking of patience, hey Mom, do you remember this? Sure you do. It's the very first record I ever bought. It's Rock the Boat by the Hughes Corporation. I'm sure you've heard it a million times because I probably played it a million times before I got other records. And I don't know how you put up with hearing the same song for 6 hours in a row, but you definitely did. And then when my sister was born and she got a record player, she played Shout by Tears for Fears from lunch to dinner one day, and you didn't mind that either. How in the world did you do that, Mom? It's a gift that I got a couple Christmases ago. I hope that my nephew has gotten better at art than he was back then, but he decorated this little box for me, and on Christmas Day, I opened it up, and inside was this ice cream truck. Now I'm gonna see if Jack can zoom in on that. There's a person inside the ice cream truck. Such an intricate little toy, and this was my favorite toy as a kid, and sometimes I would sleep with it, and I would hold on to it, and apparently I would also eat it, and it used to be blue, and someone told me that it's possible that all the blue paint that I ingested was lead, which may explain the way I am today. So thank you, Mom, but what a great gift to have this come back to me in adulthood when I thought that it was long gone, my favorite toy that I was reunited with. It just shows that my mom would keep things that were happy memories for her and that reminded her of all the times we had growing up. My sister and I used to play with blocks all the time, and I only have one block left, but it's a pretty neat block, as you can see, because it looks a lot like our Methodist symbol. The flame isn't there, but it's a cross, and it's in red. And one of the joys of my childhood was making big buildings and knocking them down. And one of the other joys was getting the old blocks back and then giving them to a family which had a couple kids of their own, and then playing with the blocks all over again with brand new kids. Mac and cheese. You probably remember mac and cheese, and you know that some of our kids today call this their favorite meal. It was a very common meal in the Allen household and a very simple meal, but we had it to such an extent that when I went to college and had real mac and cheese, I actually said to my friend, no, this isn't real mac and cheese, this is fake mac and cheese. The thing is, moms always try to make ends meet. And even if the budget is tight, and budgets are tight right now, they make us think that what we're having is like the most amazing meal in the world. And for us, it was. When I think of all those delicious meals my mom made, and some of them that she's still making now, and some of them that I'm learning, it brings me back to a time of connection and a time of warmth. Now, I also had this connection with my grandparents. And let's go on a trip to upstate New York. Well, we're gonna see there's grandparents up there, and there's other grandparents down here in West Babylon, Long Island, and that's where we would spend time on those holiday trips. And once a month we'd come down to the island, and if it was warm, we'd swim at Jones Beach. My grandma down here, she had a really great meal that she made. She'd get a pot, and she would fill this pot with all sorts of good things. Sometimes it was pork chops or meatballs or Italian sausages, and you just didn't know what you were going to get when you reached into that vat. And let's see what Grandma's got cooking today. Hey, look at that! It's mac and cheese. Wow, thanks, Grandma. My mom was a teacher. And here is Richard Scarry's best word book ever, which is just one of the most amazing books you will ever see. And it has so many great features. Here is the Rabbit's Family House. And here is a page on all of the holidays that we celebrate. And here's a page of things you could be when you grow up. And you can look for where the pastor is on that page. Jack, can you help me find pastor?
I don't think that they have.
Pastors, it's got to be there.
I don't think they have a pastor on here. No, they have a police officer, a fireman, a farmer, even a gardener, a garage mechanic.
It's right there, Jack. How did you miss that? It was there the whole time. So it was a joy to have my mom read to me and teach me words, and it was part of the experience of growing up. And there's another book that was very special to me when I was a kid. And the funny thing was, I didn't go to church, but I had a children's Bible. And here is an example of Jesus and his disciples not practicing social distancing. But looking through this book as a kid, I started to understand about all of these joys and all of these sorrows. Oh, that looks tough. That had to be Samson and the lion. And there were witches and there were queens and there were all sorts of exciting things in here. And so before I even knew anything about my faith, this was incorporated into all of the other books that I read. And so when I finally got to church, I started to understand that I had heard these stories. I'd grown up with these stories. I'd learned many of my morals from the teachings in this book before I even knew what it was.